Happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome to Nutrition Kitchen. I am really excited. I've got my espresso right here. You weren't supposed to see that, but I'm really excited because we are going to be making, for the first time on Brookburg Body, homemade pasta. And not just any kind of homemade pasta, homemade cavatelli. And all you need to make it is 00 flour and some warm water. Yes, no eggs, because this is a Southern Italian pasta. So we're not using eggs because they don't do it in Southern Italy. And what are we going to serve it with today? I'm so happy you asked. A gorgeous basil pesto sauce. Notice I didn't just say pesto. People sometimes assume that pesto automatically means basil, but that's not the case. Pesto just means grounded herbs in Italy. And all over Italy, there's 20 regions. Pesto can be seen made differently. For instance, in Sicily, they actually use mint in their pesto. Instead of pine nuts, they use blanched almonds. They even put tomatoes. So pesto has so much flexibility. I've made pesto even with arugula. Today we're going to do it the way I was taught. And in Italy, we would call it pesto alla Genovese. It is from the region of Liguria, and it's phenomenal. And if you don't want the pasta, you can do a gluten-free protein pasta. And if you don't even want that, this pesto is fantastic. Spread on some salmon, some chicken. I even put little scoops of it in my soup. Why? Because it bursts with flavor. So get ready. Join me in the kitchen. Get your flour. I'm doing a 00 flour. And right now I'm going to show you how to do a ½ pound. I will have the ingredients and everything listed on the Brookburg Body app so that you can prepare along. But if you're doing this with me right now, I'm doing a ½ pound of pasta, and I'm using 1 quarter, how do I say that? 1 cup plus 1/4 cup, I don't know how to say that properly, of 00 flour. And just like this, I'm gonna make a little well, okay? This is how we do this. So this is the hardest part of all, is getting our dough to come together. So I'm just gonna put a little well. See that? Right in the center. And now I'm gonna put some warm water. This is actually a little too cool. I want my water to be warm, okay? Some warm water. We're gonna start off with 6 tablespoons. It really depends on temperature, how much we'll need. And I'm gonna slowly drizzle it in, okay? So this is an act of love, and it's also really forgiving. So we're gonna add some water. So I'm gonna start off with just 2 tablespoons, stick it right in the center, and I'm gonna also put a little, like 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt in here, okay? Just 1/4 of a teaspoon. You can eye it, just of some salt. Now, have a fork, and I like to do this on a bowl versus not my cutting board. This is a pasta board. Why do I like to do it here? Because it's gonna get a little messy, and I'd rather not clean it. So I'm just gonna very slowly incorporate, it's like a little volcano, this flour. And I do it from the center, and little by little, I take the flour until it starts getting sticky. I could use some more water, okay? I wanna make sure you guys can hear me, so I'm gonna look at my chat. Hi, Geo and FitFam. Hi, Kathy, so you guys can hear me? Because I know there was some problems for my workout today, but you guys were able to see me. We want you to hear me now. So I'm just incorporating my water. See how it's sticking, which is good. It's cavatelli. That's what we're making, okay? A little bit of love. I'm adding a little bit more. And I just push the sides of my flour in here. Let me put my camera down a little bit just so you can see. One day we're gonna have this professional setup here, guys, in the Geo kitchen, in the nutrition kitchen. But for now, it's all very rustic and very homey. Okay, and notice that if you see this, I have my flours labeled. A lot of gluten-free stuff is being cooked in my house these days because of my husband. But I like a 00 flour, and I like it from Italy. If you want recommendations, you can simply ask, and I will give it to Faye to post, and it will be under my caption, because there's lots of delicious flours that I use. And I know this is a fitness app, so you might be saying, why is she making pasta? But I'm not afraid of pasta. I don't think you need to be afraid of pasta. In Italy, pasta is part of the diet. They eat it every day. If you ever go down on my Instagram and scroll, I've posted myself in a bathing suit. Yes, I have. Why? because I ate pasta every day for 2 months in Italy, and I didn't gain any weight and I didn't lose any muscle definition. Part of that is because of how they eat pasta. It's usually served as what they call a primo, a first course. So if you ever go to a menu in Italy, you'll see something called primi piatti, which means first courses. And you'll see pasta listed as a first course. And I always said dividiamo to the waiter, which means divide it. Why? Because now once I get this together, I'm going to start incorporating the rest of the flour, and it's way too dry. I need a little bit more water. So just a little bit like this goes a long way. 6 tablespoons to be exact, but something tells me that we might actually add more. So I did my 6 tablespoons. I'm just going to push it together. Okay, it seems like right now we're not going to have dough. Bear with me. So primo piatto, first course, is usually the pasta course. I always divide it in 2 so that I'm not eating a full course of pasta by myself. Sometimes I do, but most of the time when I'm in Italy, I like to save room for the secondo, the second course, which I usually have is either fish. A lot of time it's fish because in southern Italy, where I travel to a lot, I love a whole branzino. I love the shrimp. I love the lobster, and I do a vegetable or a salad. So therefore, I'm having pasta every night. It's al dente. It's good quality pasta. They don't oversauce their pasta. There's rules in Italy. And then after dinner, we always do something called a passeggiata, which is a walk. And this happens every night. We have wine. So if you ever follow me and my lifestyle, it's not about dieting. It's not about deprivation. It's about enjoying your food. It's about living life. It's about making pasta and experiencing the magic of it all. And by the way, I will be eating this pasta tonight. I'm going to taste it for you today because I think that I can't make something without tasting it. But the pasta will be had tonight with my husband, and hopefully we'll be drinking a beautiful glass of wine and really reminding ourselves that pasta, life is a combination of pasta and magic. Now, you might have said, how did she know she needed more water? I knew I needed more water because it wasn't sticking, okay? So you only know that after you do what I'm doing right now, which is called kneading the pasta. I use this part of my hand, and I just knead it, okay? And after I knead the pasta, I don't want to roll it out. So lucky for you, before this class, I already made some pasta dough. I was in a meeting with Brooke and Faye. Hold on. That just got, I was in a meeting with Brooke and Faye, and I decided during the meeting to make my dough. It's very meditational. You just keep kneading and see, you keep bringing the flour that hasn't stuck yet there. So I might actually add a little bit more water. I missed the temperature of the water, room temperature. Sorry, more like warm, not hot. I like Caputo flour too, Kathy. I'm so happy to hear that the audio is great. We have Double King Arthur flour locally. Heather, you say locally, are you talking Vermont? You know where my father thinks the best flour is in the country? You're not going to believe what I'm going to say. He thinks it's Minnesota. And that's because of how they grow their wheat. So if you ever see Minnesota on the American flour, that's my dad's go-to in this country. All right, do you see how it's coming together right now? It's not going to be as shiny as you would notice with an egg pasta. The egg is what contributes to the shine, but what we want is a Play-Doh effect, okay? We want a Play-Doh effect. I'm going to start using my board to knead because I love this board. Now, the surface you use, very important for pasta. Why? Because your pasta is going to take on the surface you use. This is a wooden board made in Bologna, Italy. It was gifted to me from somebody called Sfoglino. A Sfoglino is a pasta maker, okay, in Italy, specifically northern Italy, that walks around with these boards and a rolling pin, and they do it in the streets. So if you look at my board, it has like this rough, rustic texture. And people are always like, why does your pasta taste good? I think it's the board. Also, when you're doing your pasta the way I am, see how I'm kneading it? My little hand has a taste, a flavor. So I always say when I have my dad's pasta, it's the best, like, because his hands are on it. So don't be afraid. It's very, very flexible, okay? See that? Like, and I could just take all these stuff that was sticky I'm watching you guys put this. So homemade pasta, there's a lot of room for error. You just saw that, right? Like, hey, it's not sticking together, add more water. It's too sticky, add more flour. It looks amazing, audio is perfect. Great, BB Body Team. I love you, BB Body Team. I wanna see pasta making in the street in Italy. Jill, it's an experience. If you go to Puglia, which is where the Cavatelli is from, I'll lift my computer up. So we have some dough, yeah? What's the best thing to do with this dough? If you go to Puglia in the city of Bari, Google it. You're gonna see all these older women rolling out orecchiette, which is the little ears, or the cavatelli, which we're gonna make today. All right, so watch this. We're going to now take some plastic wrap. Very important step. You've gotta rest your dough, okay? You've gotta rest the dough. It relaxes. Gluten in it. I wrap it and I let it rest. How long should I let it rest for? Room temperature, 20 to 30 minutes. I've seen some recipes say refrigerator. Never did I do that. My father grew up in a part of Italy where he had no refrigerator. So they never rested their pasta room temperature. However, let's remember which one that was. This is the new one. However, I will tell you this. If you're making it the night before and you want to roll out your pasta the next day, then you would put it in the fridge, especially if it's an egg pasta, right? Because the egg pasta can get contaminated. All right, so let's pretend. Let's pretend now. Can we pretend that I just rested my dough for 30 minutes? Lucky for you, I'm not gonna make you wait. So I have rested dough. And this is the fun part. This is the pasta creation. I'm gonna take my dough. Hello, dough. I'm gonna unwrap it. It should feel like Play-Doh. Is there a trick to maintaining your board? Yes. My dad actually rubs olive oil on his board. Ooh, this is perfect, okay? So this is why you need to rest it, because it didn't feel like this, okay? It should feel like Play-Doh, where you press it, it bounces back. It's a little sticky, but not too much. And if it does get sticky, don't worry, we'll fix it with flour. Now watch what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna keep my plastic, because I'm gonna wanna keep it covered. If you don't have one of these, use a knife. This is a dough cutter. I'm gonna just cut off just a little piece, okay? Questa, like that. Now I'm gonna wrap up my dough that I'm not using yet so that it doesn't dry out. You wanna wrap it. And now I'm gonna take this dough and I'm gonna roll it with this part of my hand. We're gonna make something called a snake. So you wanna roll it, making snakes. Is there a trick to maintaining your board? No questions. Anyone want to talk to me? I've got 7 of you here. Can you put your names down so I could see who you are? Now, normally I'd be drinking a glass of wine, but it is only 1:42. I should have said it's aperitivo hour somewhere. When I cook, I like to have a glass of wine. I like to have the right music. I usually like to have a bunch of people here. And on Friday, I'm doing a dinner party here, not this week, but next week, where I have my favorite people in Florida coming over to learn how to make this. And it's gonna be so much fun because when you have more hands, it goes much quicker. So we're rolling this out. We want it to kind of be the size of a pencil. And for some reason, it's taking me a little bit longer to achieve that, but that's okay. So I start in the middle and then I allow my hands to roll out, okay? I know people that could do this much quicker than me. I am definitely not a pro at this. This is not a pasta shape I grew up making. This was a pasta shape I learned how to make from all my travels to Italy, okay? I learned how to make ravioli growing up, tagliatelle, gnocchi, what else? Strozzapreti. So fairly new at Cavatelli. I've been making it for the past 3 years. Yes, Valentine's Day next Friday. I'm doing couples, and you wanna know, guys, what I'm doing? I'm doing a burgundy velvet tablecloth, ivory napkins. I'm planning my flowers and I'm playing the Hollywood game. Is it called the honeymoon game? I have to prepare. My husband came up with the idea. I was gonna do something where I give everybody love quotes and he's like, well, that's gonna be kind of boring. I said, really? I thought that was fun. He said, let's play a game. So how well do you know your partner? And it's gonna be fun. So if you guys want me to share the questions we're gonna be doing, it could be something fun you even do with your own partner on Valentine's Day. if you throw a party, or even your friends, your girlfriends. How well do you know your friends? Play the honeymoon game. Okay, so we have our snake. Kind of want it a little smaller, but that's okay. It's a thick pencil. It should be a little thinner. I'm not achieving that. Hold on. Okay, now I'm going to cut it. Okay, how much? Like a finger apart into these little pieces. See that? And we're going to do this. Isn't it? Do you see why pasta can be very meditative? Very meditative. Now, if you go on Amazon, you can buy a Cavatelli machine. You stick these little snakes right through, and they make the Cavatelli for you. So there's ways to make homemade pasta and do it a lot quicker. I'm showing you old school way. You get yourself a gnocchi board, okay, on Amazon, and then you just place your noodle on top, and you literally roll it. And you see the ridges I'm getting? That's going to be fantastic because it's really going to take on the form of my pasta. These cavatellis are a little bigger than I normally make it, but I don't care because my pesto is very rustic and I kind of want a thicker pasta today to make that. So there's no rules. In Italy, they think there's rules. I'm going to tell you there's not. You make these recipes your own. The Italians need to relax. Tell that to my father. They need to relax. But do you see how beautiful this is with ridges? If you don't have a board, you can use a fork. Watch. You take it along the fork, same thing. See that? Look, I still got it. So no excuses. You don't have to wait till you get this on Amazon. The fork works too. I prefer the board because it's a little easier, but the fork works. And you just go like this. We're going to roll out one more snake for you so I can show you how we put this together. But do make homemade cavatelli. Get the family together. Let this rest. Now, even the homemade pasta, after you roll it out, you let it rest, okay? I just slid mine up. Why? Because it should rest a little bit before we put it in the water. We're gonna just do one more round, and then I'll roll the rest of it out when I don't have you guys. So I'm gonna break my dough. Check out how my dough looks. See? It's fantastic. When I touch it, it's a little sticky. It should really feel like Play-Doh. That's why kids love homemade pasta. The lovely way of making pasta. So much fun. Great idea. Thank you, Heather Kelly. Heather Kelly, you always make me feel good. Okay, so we roll it into snakes. Kids love that part. Now, when I'm doing this, I hate to bring up working out, but if I tend to put my weight like in a squat into my feet, the pasta rolling becomes a little easier. You've got to use your body for the pasta, okay? And it's easy, but you know, it takes a bit of practice. Notice I'm not going here. I'm starting from the middle and my hands are naturally gliding. Yeah? Almost ready. It's a little bit of work. I think pasta making keeps my arms toned without, who said you need heavy weights when we've got pasta? Okay, look at that. Woo! It's a workout. It's a workout. Okay, I got my snake. It's a little thicker in the middle. I'm being honest. A pasta maker from Puglia would never, it would be perfect, but I'm not perfect. I'm Giovanna. I'm not interested in being perfect. I'm interested in being me. When you try to do a lot of things in life, you let perfection go out the window. Because if I was perfect, I wouldn't do anything. Because I'm not perfect at anything. I like to think I'm one of those people who's good at a lot of things, perfect at nothing. What about you guys? You know what? I can make this a little thinner here. Okay. See, that's how you cheat. It was a little thicker in the middle. I just stopped cutting it. But there's people who are real pasta pros, and you should watch them. I think the real pasta pros are the people who make this every day. And by the way, I always say, I know this sound, I'm going to get a little morbid here. For those of you who know me, my dog is the love of my life. So we put this right here and we go. I won't bore you with this anymore. This will be our last batch and I'll make the rest later. But my dog is the love of my life. She's 16. I've given up a lot to be with her right now in this last phase of her life. But I always say The day she passes, I used to tell people, you'll have to lock me up in a crazy house. Now I tell people I'm taking a flight. I'm going to Italy. I have a cousin who runs a restaurant on a farm. I've never met her. She already told my father I can come, but I can't cook. So I said, I'll be her waitress. I'll do anything. I'll wash her linens. But I'm going to take my pasta level making up a whole notch and spend as many months as I want in Italy. I'll still stream my workouts and do Nutrition Kitchen, but that's where my future is taking me, to Italy and to France. Rustic, homemade cooking. It's a possibility I've created for myself to get through a time of my life I'm not really looking forward to. So I try to live in possibility, and pasta is possibility. You like that rhyme? Swear to God, I just made that up. Okay. The possibilities. I have heard that dry pasta imported from Italy is better for the body to digest than pasta made in the US due to how it's made. Something about how the mass produced and fast dried in the States. Correct. The longer you dry your pasta, the better it is for you. So we're going to let this sit. I actually don't need any flour to put on it because it's been made pretty well. It's not sticky. It's fantastic. We're going to let this sit right here. Thank you. It's a beautiful grief plan. We need a grief plan. So now we're going to make homemade pesto. I've got basil and I've got parsley. All right, I'm going to show you something that you probably have not seen before. I'm going to show you how we're going to do the basil pesto sauce that I know you haven't seen before. Maybe you have. But this is how my father does it, and I believe this is how they do it in some of the top places. We're going to stick this in a salad spinner. I know, huh? Why am I doing that? You're right. I don't know. I'll show you. I'm going to just put some water on it, which is probably going to bruise my leaves a little bit, but I don't care. So I have about 3 cups of basil. I have about almost a cup of parsley. Get the fresh parsley and make sure you take off all the stems from both herbs. I'm going to put water on here, okay? And then I'm going to drain it just to get some of the particles off. Okay, good. Okay, now I'm going to take 4 cloves of garlic. Now watch what I'm going to do that's very different than what most people do. I'm going to take some salt in this pot. My pot is simmering. You guys are going to count for me. We're going to blanch this for 5 to 10 minutes. Why? If you ever had pesto sauce and it irritates your stomach a little bit, this is going to be that little secret whisper that's like, this is delicious, but it's blanched. It's not as harsh, even the garlic, and we're only doing it for 5 to 10 seconds. It's also going to make your pesto more green. So let me show you. Once you do this trick, you're going to do it because it's so easy. So we're going to have one of these, a spider. If you don't have a spider, just a slotted spoon. I'm going to put this in here. Literally 5 to 10 seconds. So I want to do it quick. Okay, once it's all in. Then we're going to drain it and put it right into an ice bath, which I should have had ready, but I was talking on the phone before this. Look, blanch it for 5 to 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's take it out, okay? Let me just turn off the heat. Let me get some ice water. Hang on. Hang on. Okay. We keep it real. It's like you're in my kitchen, right? I wasn't prepared. I should have had that prepared. Why am I doing this? I'm freezing. I want to shock it so it stops cooking. So I immediately remove it and I stick it in this ice bath to let it cool. Okay? Now I know that most people that you see make pesto do it a little differently. I'm going to remove that water and I'm going to start boiling it again for my pasta. Why? Just in case there was any more grit or sand on it, I want to remove it because you don't want sand in your pesto or your pasta. And a lot of time, herbs, spinach, celery, all that kind of stuff, you want to make sure you clean it properly, even leaks. So now I'm adding back water and I'm going to add enough salt. When I do pasta water, I like to do a nice coarse sea salt. And when you put your salt, don't be afraid. It should taste like the sea. You should have enough salt in there, okay, where your pot, your water tastes like the sea. So let's get that going, and I'm going to show you what we do next. Okay. I think I ran out of the sea salt, did I? How is that possible? I think I used so much. All right, we won't use sea salt. That's okay. We're gonna use another salt. Thank God I have all these salts. Okay. I'm gonna use iodized salt. And by the way, a lot of people who give up salt, I'm actually gonna put this much in. I know you might be like, wow, that's a lot of salt, but not for pasta water. It's not. Look, I'm putting this much in. It should taste like the sea. So we're gonna just boil my water. Don't be afraid because it's homemade pasta. It's not gonna take long to cook. How long? About 2 to 3 minutes. That's the beauty of homemade pasta. If I freeze it, and I pull it out of a freezer, it cooks 2 minutes more. So about 4 or 5 minutes. That's the beauty of homemade pasta. You can freeze it. All right, so once I do this, I could either use a paper towel, sorry, not a paper towel, like a kitchen towel. I wouldn't want to use a paper towel, or a salad spinner. I want to make sure I get all this water out because I don't want it to be soggy. So now I have blanched parsley, blanched basil. The ice bath stopped the cooking. With the what? I can't try this and have my daughters help me. I have always wanted to make homemade pasta. Oh, you can't wait to try it. Would the water trick work with arugula? Absolutely, absolutely. It would work with arugula. The thing is, you don't want to overcook it. It's simply a blanch. If you overcook it, you're going to take away the flavor. So what I do now is I'm going to make sure I use a salad spinner. It's more delicate. Watch, if you don't have a salad spinner, I'm going to show you another trick. However, get yourself a salad spinner. A lot of people think this is such an unnecessary step. Do this, let it go. You're going to see all this water drain now. We're going to do this 3 times. Okay, great kitchen tool. Put it on your list. Amazon will deliver it tomorrow, right? And look what's waiting for me. Homemade, gorgeous pasta. I'm so excited for this. Okay. Now look at all this water that came out. See that? I'm going to dump it out. I'm going to do this 2 more times. 2 more. Due, since we're doing Italian. Now I have a food processor already. I like doing pesto in a food processor. If you go to a proper restaurant where this pesto, the basil pesto, is from, in a region called Liguria, think about Portofino, Santa Margherita, you will see people using something called a mortar in English. That's what they make guacamole. You could certainly do it that way. You probably will never do it again. It takes a really long time and a lot of arm work. And I think the food processor is just as good, my opinion. So we're going to use it. It's much quicker. You'll be making pesto all the time. I mean it. An experiment. I love that somebody asked me about arugula. Arugula pesto is amazing. Truth be told, if I don't have enough basil or the store didn't have good basil, because this doesn't come out good if the basil's not good, yeah, I'll do arugula. You could do a spinach pesto. You can do any kind of pesto. It's literally just blended herbs. You don't want to puree it. You want to coarsely blend it because you want it rustic. Okay, just one more time. And then I'm going to take a kitchen towel because I want to be thorough. I'm looking at your comments, so don't hold back, people. Don't hold back. All right, here's a chance to do a kitchen burn, right? So while my salad's spinning, why am I just standing there? We can do squats so many times, so we can do bite-sized burns right in the kitchen. Call me crazy, but I have a person who just did GeoGlow, and she told me every time she had to go to the bathroom, she threw in about 10 squats. I thought that was genius. She said by the end of the day, she had 60 squats. So bite-sized kitchen snacks happen when we're cooking, waiting water to boil, waiting for the salad to spin. See, this thing takes forever, but it's thorough. Okay, come on. Let's go. I don't want to do any more squats. I don't want to do any more squats. It's still going. It's still going. Here, let's make it speed it up. Maybe the thing will stop. All right. I'm going to stop it. I think we're getting good. Yeah? Look, see? See how it's less and less water? Okay. So now I'm going to just take it in my kitchen towel. You don't want to squeeze it hard because, again, these are herbs. But you do want to make sure, first of all, you want to make sure you get all of it. Notice I didn't cook it. I blanched it. I didn't boil it. Blanching and boiling are 2 different things. My water wasn't even a harsh boil. It was a low simmer, so that's what I like to do for blanching. Okay, get all these herbs off. Be thorough. Okay, put it in the towel. Now watch, we're just gonna place it here and just lightly tap it. I don't want to squeeze it hard. Be gentle, make love to your food. Okay, I think we're pretty dry now. See that? It's pretty dry. Very happy with that. All right, so we're gonna start with about a half a cup of olive oil. Putting it in my food processor. Okay? Now I'm going to put in my herbs and my garlic. It's fantastic. I'm going to put in a pinch of salt. Just a pinch, because the cheese we're going to add also is good. And I'm going to add some cheese. Where's my cheese? Parmigiano Reggiano and Pecorino. How much? This much. I'll give you the ingredients, I promise. I just eye this. Okay? Now I'm going to put on my top, and I'm going to pulse it. Oh my God. So good. Just a little more olive oil. I'm going to put just a little bit more cheese to just adjust the flavor. But we've got ourselves a beautiful pesto. And notice I'm not really like going nuts with it. It's amazing. All that basil, and it looks like, you know, I made nothing. That's the funny thing. If you really want to make a lot of pesto, you've got to use a lot of sauce, but I'm only 2 people here. If I was making this for a lot of people, trust me, I'd be using a lot more pesto. Let me show you what this looks like now. We're going to just use a delicate spatula, rubber, and I'm just going to put it into this bowl. You see how beautiful and green this is? Do you see that I kept the vibrant color? That's because I blanched it. Sometimes if you were to just stick this in dry and you were to, and it's also going to be less harsh on your stomach because you're doing raw garlic and raw herbs and blending it together, it becomes a little much for your stomach, I think. Now, I eliminated pine nuts. You don't have to do that. Classically, you would use pine nuts. I like to toast them and add them in. My husband found out he has a nut allergy. And well, we eat what we make in Nutrition Kitchen. So for the sake of my husband, no nuts. If you don't want to do pine nuts, I've done a beautiful pistachio pesto sauce as well. Look at this. It's so beautiful, isn't it? Okay. Just put a little bit more olive oil on top. Check that out. What do you guys think? I do the bite size when I wash dishes. Good. I'm going to do something disgusting, but it's because I'm eating this with my finger. It's so good. It's delicious. It's pure. It's fantastic. All right. Because I'm not going to eat this right now. I'm eating this for dinner. I just want to plate this for you though. I'm going to cook a very small portion of our pasta. Okay. We're going to time it. I'm going to show you the proper way to utilize the pasta. You're welcome, Heather. Yeah, this could be very harsh for people. So we're going to do just a very small portion so I don't waste it because I'm going to eat this later. I'm going to put a handful in. And by the way, this is enough for a first course. I know. That's why Italians stay skinny. 2 to 3 minutes. I'm here for some questions. That's all it takes. The pasta is going to rise to the top. It's well salted. We've got our pesto. We do not heat this up. No, sir. We do not heat up the pesto. Okay, if you heat this up, it's going to turn brown. I'll show you what we do with it. You always save your pasta water. That's going to cream it up. I'm so excited. I thought this was going to take a long time. We've only been on for 34 minutes. Any questions for me as we wait for my pasta, which is going to be ready in a minute, because I like it served al dente, firm to the tooth. It also helps you digest it better if it's al dente. And I really hope that this segment gets you excited to make homemade food. Again, guys, that didn't take me all that long. Now, if I'm rolling out all the cavatelli, yes, it's going to take me a lot longer. But if you have a lot of hands in the kitchen, check out that cavatelli maker on Amazon though. It honestly is great. You just push it through and it pops it right out and it makes it easy. I'm all about keeping things facile, easy, that's how you say it in Italian, in the kitchen, because we deserve really good food and we know it. If it's too hard, no one's going to do it. But you can make this and make a beautiful bowl of homemade cavatelli with pesto sauce on a Thursday night and experience a little bit of magic versus kind of just eat something that you're like, about. I just showed you how to do it. So easy. And by the way, so affordable. Flour, water, basil, parsley, garlic, olive oil, cheese. That's probably like under $30 and you can feed a family of 6 to 8. My father grew up poor and pasta and risotto became staple dishes to feed their family. So that's what I love about it. Let me check on the pasta. I love this because it helps me really check on it. Almost. Maybe one more minute, okay? One more minute. And how do I know that? Because I'm feeling it. I could tell it needs another minute. I'm gonna plate on this beautiful blue plate. Actually, let's use a bowl. You'll see why. I'm gonna use this bowl. And I'm gonna get a ladle ready. Where is my ladle? You know, people put things back in my kitchen. Okay, we want this ladle because the pasta water is gold. It's gold. The pasta water is completely gold. It's going to help make our sauce creamy without adding actual cream. All right, my pasta is done. How do I know this? Because it's floating to the top. When homemade pasta is done, it will rise to the top. I'm just going to use this to scoop it out. Okay. Such a big bowl for such a small amount of pasta, but don't worry. Now I'm going to add my pesto. Since it's such a little bowl, I'm just going to put a tablespoon on top only because it's such a small bowl. Here's the magic. Okay. I'm going to add just a little bit of the pasta water, and I'm going to mix this together. Okay. I made a mess. That's okay. That's okay. Heather Kelly, don't tell anyone the mess I just made. Let me serve this on a proper small plate so this doesn't look ridiculous. But I'm doing it like this. I'm going to add some cheese on top. So do you see how I'm cooking it off the heat? Because I want the pesto to stay green. I'm now adding some cheese and a little bit more olio, a little more olive, okay? A little bit more olive oil. I want a small plate for this. Let me get a small plate to do this properly. Just hang on, hang on. All right, here we go. Fine china, because you guys are worth the fine china. Let's let this kind of mix in my pesto just a little bit more, okay? So I'm flipping it. Why? Because the pasta water is coating it and it's making it creamy. See that? Don't skip this step, honestly. It's what makes the magic. You'll make a little mess, who cares? It makes it look like you worked harder. Okay, look at it, it's so fantastic. Watch this. I scoop it on. Okay. Now we're gonna add some more cheese because life is just better with more cheese. And by the way, this is freshly grated. I'll show you. If you don't believe me, I never buy cheese grated. I always freshly grate it on top. This was a combination of pecorino and parmigiano. That's why I don't need too much salt. This has so much salt. It's time to taste it. Did I add olive oil? I did. You want to taste it for me? Who wants to taste it for me? Kathy, you want to taste it? Heather? No David Madrid here today? Who else is here? I'm only seeing Heather and Kelly's name, but I'm going to look to see who else is here because I want to share this with all of you. Lori, Kimberly, Shannon, who's tasting it? You want to make sure you get the pesto. Okay, let's explain something. See those ridges? This is why I like this dish. The ridges from the board got the pesto. Wow. to stay on the pasta. Delicious. Delicious. So good. I need a glass of wine. I'm just kidding. This was so good. And I hope you learned a few tricks. Let's go over them. Okay? And I'll answer any questions. It's so good. Look at that. It's magic. Look at that, right? Look at that. Look at that sauce. Notice it's not pureed. I kept it rustic. Notice it's still green. So let's go over, starting with the pasta. 00 flour from Italy, imported. If you don't have 00, that's fine. You can use all purpose. I prefer 00. You'll notice it's much more fine. Depending on what flour you use, the water will change. Warm water. For a half a cup, I did 1 1/4 cup. I made a little mound. I added the water slowly. I incorporated it. I kneaded it. I let it rest room temperature for 20 to 30 minutes at least. Then, once it did, I rolled it out into snakes. I cut them to about a little bit, like a finger. I guess what would that be, a half an inch? And then I used my gnocchi board to make those ridges. If you don't have that, use the fork. You want the ridges. The ridges is what traps the salt, okay? Not the salt, the sauce. Pesto, parsley, garlic, blanched. You don't have to blanch it. I like to blanch it. It's much easier on your stomach. Consider it like a little whisper in cooking. You're whispering through, okay? You blanch it with salt. Garlic, parsley, basil. You remove it. Immediately you shock it in an ice bath, okay? Then you remove all the water. I used a salad spinner. If you don't have that accessible, you can also use my towel trick. I did both to be thorough, because if the water comes in it, it's not going to be a beautiful rustic pesto. It's going to be soggy. Once I did that, the first thing that went in the food processor was the olive oil. Then I put all my herbs. I added some cheese. As I emulsified it and pulsed it, you can add more water. I tend to add more olive oil because I just love the fat. I love the flavor. I love the liquid gold. My pasta water should taste like the sea. Add enough salt. Do not be afraid of that. That step is critical and crucial. Once I put my pesto on my pasta, I do it off the heat. You will not contain this color if you do the pesto. It's so good. On the, sorry, I get distracted. It's so damn good. On the stove. However, I will tell you this. To make this even better, I should have warmed my plates. A warm plate will keep your pasta warmer. But this is a beautiful dish, Cavatelli with pesto. Thank you so much for coming and joining me. Do good quality everything. If you go to the store and the basil doesn't look good, forget this dish. It's not coming out good. You need a good basil. You need a good olive oil. You need a good aged cheese. Those details matter, but you saw how easy this is. So make me happy. Make your pasta. Make your pesto. Post it so we can see it. Tag me. And my friends, buon appetito. Next week, join me. Special Valentine's Day. We're going to learn how to make tiramisu. Yes, it's a dessert, but it's Valentine's Day. You deserve it. You earned it. We're going to make it sexy. I hope you come. This tiramisu, I promise you're not going to find tiramisu better than that. I know. I have confidence issues, don't I? I'm just kidding. It's my father's tiramisu, so I can say that. I love you all. Buon appetito, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much.